Hey guys, welcome back to the This Is All Skate Shop YouTube channel. I'm Ivo, the owner of This Is All Skate Shop, and we are here at the Olympiaplein. This is a series about aggressive skating, and if you're watching this video, I hope that you have already watched the previous episodes, because there's a lot of fundamental aspects that I teach in every one of these episodes that are all coming together in this one. Of course, we have some sole wax, so we have to wax the coping box to make it nice and slippery, because today I'm gonna talk to you about spinning into grinds. Spinning into grinds can be done, of course, in a few different ways, and we're going to touch on all of them. I'm going to give some fundamental tips. The ways are, of course, alley-oop, true spin, INSPIN and OUTSPIN. INSPIN and OUTSPIN always are fakie. And then there's zero spin as well. This is a secret little side quest that we're going to do in the middle of the video. The easiest one is going to be alley-oop. So we're going to start with the alley-oop. And again, I hope that you know all the foot positions right now, that you know a few switch ups maybe. So this video we're gonna build up on final skills a little bit within aggressive skating, because like I always say, inline skating is like a language, and then maybe the grinds are the words, and then the switch ups are the sentences. But if you can like really spin into your grinds, and it's really like poetry. This is in a way the highest thing that you can do on aggressive inline skates, is spinning into a grind and then do some switch ups and then spinning out again. Before we do any spins, we have to start being a little bit conscious of our body. The way to do that is just backsides. I think you should be able to do a normal backside and a switch backside, so I hope you can do that. If I'm gonna do a backside, I like to do backside royale, because with the backside royale, it's a little bit easier to get down in your grinds. And if you do a normal background, you're way more static. In this A-frame position, you cannot really bend your knees, and in the backside position, you can bend a little bit better. So if you can do backside royales, it's easier. And with this first exercise, I just want you to become conscious of your arms and your foot positions. So, of course, if you're gonna spin into a grind, let's start with the arms. You're gonna kind of like swing your arms a little bit, okay? Because you need to rotate. So if I'm gonna do a backside, I'm gonna swing my arms like this. Hop. If you ride, you're gonna have your hands like this, and you're riding. Then you jump, and then you rotate, and in your jump, you have to kind of like pull your arms back. Really look at my arms, what I do mid-air right now. First I swing, and then I swing it back. So swing, swing back. See, my hands end up here, because at first I swing and then boom. So this is what I use to stop the rotation, because you want to rotate into the grind, but you don't want to rotate while you're grinding, of course. So stopping the rotation is just as important. Okay, I think you should be able to do this switch as well. I can, so I'll show you. That's boom, perfect. Okay, rotate, stop, rotate. So that's one fundamental aspect. And then the second thing that you need to learn to become conscious about is the position of your foot, which one you have in front, and your weight. Because when you rotate, and you can also see this in our 180, 360, 540 video that we did, you always rotate towards an open position with your legs. So if you're gonna do a 360 this way, you start with your foot like this. So it's like this, boom. So if you can only skate with either your left foot in front or your right foot in front, this is something you should practice. Especially if you want to do like switch and natural spinning into the grinds. And I think you should, because probably everybody is a little bit weird in this. Maybe you want to do like a normal sole spin to the right into your sole, but then for like MIZOU or something, or acid or one other trick, you actually do this on your switch leg. Because I, for example, do my top sides on my right foot, and I do my kind grinds on my left foot. So if I would want to do an alley-oop 360 kind grind, I would need to spin the other way around than I would an alley-oop 360 topsole. So that's why I think you should learn this both ways, okay? So we're talking about foot positions right now. So learn both foot positions in the front, and learn to 360 already on the ground both ways as well. And then there's the foot position, but there's also the weight. In a 360, normally you're shifting your weight. So if I'm doing a normal 360, I'm starting with my weight on this foot, and then shifting in my jump to the weight on this foot. So like this, and then weight here, and then I jump. Whoop, Boom, that makes it a lot easier. And if you cannot do this, then you can also not do it into your grinds. With everything we're gonna do now, starting with alley-oop, pay attention to my arms, pay attention to my foot position, and pay attention to my weight distribution. First alley-oop trick is the alley-oop sole. It's the easiest. I'll show you what it is. I even like alley-oop royale better. That's if you put your front side foot in a royale position. And the difficult part of the alley-oop sole is the tension in the body. So while doing anything on aggressive skates, I've told this in other videos as well, your lower body should be like a statue made out of metal. Like it should be rock hard, okay? And your upper body can be a little bit more fluid normally. So the most common mistake with the alley-oop sole is that you start with your weight a little bit on your front foot and then you shift your weight on your back foot. And this shifting of the weight will actually absorb your energy. I'll show you a normal beginner's alley-oop sole and how it goes wrong, okay? Okay, this is what beginners always do. All right, so I kind of like shifted my weight and then my foot got stuck, and then you just step out of your grind on the back to prevent this tense up, okay? This is especially for the alley-oop sole and also of course for all the other grind tricks, but for this one it's really like the most common mistake. And then when we're doing an alley-oop sole, what are we doing with the hands and the foot? Of course we want to rotate this way. I'm swinging my arms, having my weight on my right foot and an open position like this. So pay attention to my foot and my arms. Whoops, and then like this. We're talking about alley-oop tricks right now. And if you master the alley-oop sole, of course you need to repeat, and you cannot just do this in 10 tries, right? This is, if it's like a language, you also need to study it like a language and do a lot of repetitions. If you master the alley-oop sole, you can then kind of like rotate it further and further. And it's a little bit like a clock rotates. So every time, like 5 minutes later, tuck, 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 tuck. But for every one of those 5 minutes, there's different foot positions. The alley-oop sole is a little bit with the shoulders in this angle. Normally a sole grind, if you do it perfectly, would be a straight grind. Normally the sole grind is in a 90-degree angle, but the alley-oop sole is often done in a little bit of an angle. So the next clock position, to do it really in a straight line, you can do the alley-oop sole in that position, but if you do an alley-oop acid, then you really force yourself to do it properly. Let's see if I can do an alley-oop acid. I'm not sure if I can. Oh. So my shoulders were perfectly like this, and then the next step would be maybe actually to do an alley-oop pornstar if you look at the shoulders positions, because with the pornstar my shoulders are also like this, and then the next step after that would be either a MIZOU or a MIZOU like this. Okay, let's see if I can do those. Alley-oop pornstar, same as alley-oop acid, and then alley-oop MIZOU. More difficult because you need more rotation. Okay, now I have it. Woo! I think I got it right. Of course it was not perfect, but so you have to look at this like a clock, and every 5 minutes there's a different foot position, and every time the rotational aspect becomes a little bit harder. Of course some will be easier because you just like those grinds better, but then I think you should just learn the grinds that you don't like, drill it until you do like them, because in the end you're supposed to learn them all. Thank you, Jaro. I'll do an alley-oop MIZOU perfectly for you. Of course you need to be able to do them switch as well. So that's a switch alley-oop sole for me. My next challenge would be to do switch alley-oop acid, MIZOU and pornstar. I think that's a little bit also the end of my skill set right now, so I'm not gonna bore you with 100 tries. But next time I'm on a session, this is my daily therapy, and you should just pick the point for yourself where yours is. If we're talking about the clock and about alley-oop tricks, so there's a moment that you end up in the backside position as well. This is the moment where it's the first trick where if you look, your head is gonna do a full rotation. With the other tricks, like if you just do an alley-oop sole, you can look at the coping and just kind and just land in it, but stay focused on the coping. If you do the clock so far that you're back into a backside, it's the first trick where your head goes from this to there. And this is the benchmark where you really get into like the spinning into a grind department. And all of these, like the INSPIN, the OUTSPIN, the TrueSpin, and the ALLEYOOP, all of them have this benchmark where you're either back into a frontside or a backside position, and you have the first time that you kind of like need to rotate your head again. So this is really cool. ALLEYOOP backside royale, the one here, is a lot easier in the quarter pipe actually. So this is a really good way to learn the ALLEYOOP backside royale, is to learn it in the quarter pipe. Maybe I'm gonna do one in the quarter pipe and then see if I can then repeat it on the grind box. Woo. Okay, hopefully now I can do it on the coping box as well. Woo! All right. Okay, it was not really perfect. The rotation was there, my foot position was not perfect. But it's cool. I think I kind of like got it. Of course, if I do like 20 more tries, I think I'll have it good. I think for me, the next step can be if I do like 360 MIZOU right now. So that's my personal limit. I'm not sure if I can do it. I'll give it 2 tries, okay? So let's see if I can do it. And then after that, because the 360 MIZOU, I like to do MIZOU because the weight distribution is 50-50 with this. After that, the next step would be to do a 360 sole. And I've never done that, so I'm definitely not gonna do it today, I think. But this would be the progression for me. 360 MIZOU. Oh, so scary. So the scary part is right now for me that I lose sight. So you need to now spot your trick. So I need to rotate so fast that my head actually needs to catch up and then spot the trick, and then I need to land it because I cannot land it if I cannot see it. One extra thing that I need to focus on that I didn't tell you guys is this little trick, this little mind trick that I discovered. And that is, people think that they need to jump and go towards the curb, but this is not really true. You should jump above the curb and then land on it. So this is a different trajectory than jumping towards it. So that was also one mistake that I just did. I tried to just like jump into it, but I need to focus on landing above it. Okay, so these are the 2 focus points for me right now. Jump high and spot. Let's see if I can do it. Ah. Hey! 360 MIZOU. I think that's it for ALLEYOOPs for me. So this is definitely the end of my limit. If I would want to explore more, I can of course do the ALLEYOOP MIZOU longer. I can do them all longer. Make sure that you have them from beginning to the end. Just practice within your comfort zone first and just expand your comfort zone before you do like 1 extra rotation on the clock. Okay? A good like philosophy is to practice one thing until it's really boring, and then move on to the next position of the clock. Okay, so that's ALLEYOOP. Now we're gonna go to TrueSpin. And TrueSpin is cool because with ALLEYOOP you spin towards the obstacle, and with TrueSpin you spin away from the obstacle. So I'll show you right here. So this was ALLEYOOP where I'm spinning towards it, and then you rotate, and then you land. And TrueSpin, I'm spinning away from it, like this. But I lose my sight immediately. So yeah, you have to look a little bit through your body sometimes. But you can still, like with the TrueSpin MIZOU, for example, which is the easiest one, it's the first one we're gonna do. Once you know the backside royale, it's just a backside royale, but then with 1 extra foot position change. With TrueSpin MIZOU, you can still look at the coping. And then later we're gonna do TrueSpin sole, and then you have to kind of like look through your body or spot the trick behind you. I do have to say one thing, that I'm using these terms the way I use it. So for me, ALLEYOOP and TrueSpin is just a mean to rotate. And it's true that if you say like I'm gonna do an ALLEYOOP sole, that it's implied that you're gonna grind backwards, okay? This makes sense. But if you're gonna do an ALLEYOOP 360 sole, because you do a 360, you end up forward again. So, but I know in the comments, not everybody's gonna agree with me. People are gonna call that then like a hurricane maybe. But there's this daily bread from, I don't know the year actually, maybe like 97 or something, a really old daily bread, and all the tricks with the names are explained there. I have my vocabulary from that daily bread, so if you have any trouble with this, please fight it out with the editors-in-chief of the daily bread. This is the way I see the trick vocabulary. Probably people are gonna disagree, but also for me this makes the most sense. Just have one name for rotation, then you do like the amount of rotation, so it's like an alley-oop 540 sol or an alley-oop 720 sol, and then you can figure out yourself if it's going to be a backwards grind or a forward grind because you know the amount of rotation in it. So we're going to go into true spins. True spin MIZOU is the first one. Let's do it. So I'm going to have my hands on the left side because I'm going to do a rotation like this. I'm going to have my left foot in front. I'm going to start with my weight on my left foot. I'm going to shift my weight to my right foot and then jump. Oop. All right, now switch. Yeah. So yeah, with switch it's exactly the same, but it's on the other leg and the other way foot around, and it's the different weight position, and you swing your arms the other way. But these are all things that you can do. You can skate with your left foot in front. So try it natural and switch. Then we're going to rotate the clock again, and the next foot position would be, if you're going to do true spin MIZOU, is a true spin PORNSTAR. So this is a trick I cannot really do, but let's see, maybe in this video right now I'm going to be lucky. Okay, true spin PORNSTAR. Swing my arms, weight distribution, jump high, don't jump towards it, spot my landing. These are the things. Oh, that was pretty close, eh? Woo! Normally I cannot do this, so it's my lucky day. Let's see. Yeah, was pretty good, right?
I'll count it.
Yeah, I'm counting it as well. Then the next one is true spin sol. And then true spin acid, but true spin acid is not gonna work for me, I think. I'm not that young anymore, okay? Okay, let's see, true spin sol. Oh, almost. Maybe I should jump higher, right? Whoa! Alright. Okay, I'm happy, I'm proud of myself. So for me, the next step would be to try this 10 or 20 times, and maybe I can do acid after that, but I'm not gonna bore you with this. You should just find kind of like the place where it's your limit and then practice that. It's your daily therapy. Do like a whole day session just practicing that one, and then it's easy. I think in one session you should be able to rotate the clock like of the foot position like a quarter of an hour, right? Or something. You should be able to go from like a true spin MIZOU to a true spin PORNSTAR in one session. Just practice enough true spin MIZOUs, then the true spin PORNSTAR will be within reach. And of course it helps also to stall first. Just find a nice little spot and then jumping it on first. The first times I actually learned all these tricks was not on a coping box, but just like on a super stupid little curb like this one here. Here there's no danger of like slipping out, and if you're gonna do a true spin MIZOU at first, it's really nice to practice it on something that just doesn't slide at all. Now we did all the true spins that I can do a little bit. But then the next one is true spin frontside, and when I was a young boy I used to be able to do it. So probably on the stall I can still, you see I can still stall it. Grinding it will be really difficult for me right now. Maybe if I try it 20 times here, then I can do it. Maybe switch is easier maybe. So true spin sol is cool because it's really difficult and it's really blind. You cannot really see the landing. But if you're doing a true spin frontside, like you saw me practice just now, this is the first where you can turn your vision, where you have to look into the direction you're heading again while you're rotating towards the trick. Instead of when you land it, you can turn your head. Of course, when you do a true spin MIZOU, normally you land like this, but you can of course rotate your head while you're grinding. But if you're doing a true spin frontside, you kind of have to rotate your head already in the grind. And if you can do this, then 360 sols will become easy. I can do those the other way around. Oop. 360 sols. Before you do them, I would advise you to do the true spin frontside. Maybe I can do a 360 sol. So the frontside is just really scary for me because it's so slippery. And then I'm afraid to slide out. But the true spin sol is a little bit more safe, okay? So I'm always talking about this clock right now. And sometimes it's actually easier to skip a step because it's switch, or because some are just more inherently difficult. Like a front side is just easier to have a wipeout with than the sole, right? I never fall hard with sole grinds. If you're the person who's going to be better than me, then this is where the fun really starts, because once you can do the 360 true spin sole, you can then like unlock this whole cool trick vocabulary where you like really spin into the grinds. But it all starts with that first 360 sole and then 360 acid, and good luck with that, okay? Now the next step is INSPIN and OUTSPINs, and they always have a fakie approach. So to first learn the fakie approaches, you would need to do the 0 spin first. And the 0 spin literally means no spin. So you go fakie and you grind fakie. That's the definition of a 0 spin. Like this, boom. Or like this, of course. So there's all the combinations that there are with the sole combinations, like sole acid, MIZOU, X grinds, PORNSTAR and MIZOU, MIZOU, all those. They exist. You can do it switch and natural, try both. But I have this one interesting question. What is this called? Is this a 0 spin or an INSPIN? I'm approaching fakie and I'm grinding frontside. Is it a 0 spin or an INSPIN? Yeah, leave it in the comments. Zero half INSPIN. I don't know. It's interesting, right? Because for sure, if you do one step more, so if you don't do 0 spin frontside, which is a nice segue, if you do one rotation on the clock more, then you have a sole, and then that's definitely an INSPIN sole. This is a fun little trick. It's not really hard. If you can do sole grinds, probably you can do INSPIN sole. Except if you're me. Okay, you have the same clock, sole, then SU, acid, PORNSTAR, MIZOU, and then we're gonna come to the next benchmark trick, and that is the INSPIN 270 backside royale. That's where it all kind of like changes and kind of like ascends to the next level. Let's see if I can do all those and build it up a little bit to a backside. Backside royale, here we come. All right, so this is the last trick where I could look at the grind, and then after that you have to shift your head and spot the trick maybe. The next trick would be INSPIN 360 MIZOU. So you'll grind backwards. So you don't have, because some people here say INSPIN 360 true spin MIZOU because they think they need to say true spin to indicate that it goes backwards. But true spin is just the rotation direction. Has nothing to do if you grind forward or backwards, as long as you say the amount that you rotate. But for me, that's definitely the end of my limits. I cannot do that trick. It goes like this. I can maybe stall it for you. No, I can also not stall it. I wish I could, but I cannot. I have to practice some more. I think if I would practice it, I would practice it a little bit like this. I would do a backside royale and then mid-grind, change my foot position to this so that I can mentally kind of like prepare on what it's going to be. And for me, it's also a switch true spin MIZOU, so I would definitely also need to practice my switch true spin MIZOUs more. If I do a natural true spin MIZOU, I would need to approach it switch, and jumping into that grind switch is something I would need to build up a lot more first. Started with really like the easy INSPIN soles and everything. So yeah, that's the end of my limit. Of course, if you're going to be good, there's this super cool trick category where you can just really like spin like 630s, 540s, 720s, and then land in whatever foot position you want. But you have to figure that one out on yourself. I hope the tools of shifting the weight, rotating, and then stopping your rotation mid-air, and being conscious in what foot you have in front, and being conscious that there's like this clock. I hope that all these tips help you already. So the last category, that's called OUTSPIN. Of course, INSPIN is when you spin towards the obstacle when you go fakie. But if you have your other foot in the back and you rotate away from it first and then you go towards it, that's going to be an OUTSPIN. So because I am not that good in riding switch fakie, I would also need to approach this from the other side. The easiest one to do is going to be OUTSPIN backside royale. But we have the same question as before. Is this actually an OUTSPIN or is it like a zero spin? So I'm not really sure. Then after that backside, the easiest is the MIZOU. OUTSPIN MIZOU like this. So these for me are going to be all switch. That's why you need to learn all the basic positions, natural and switch. Otherwise you can never learn from the ground up INSPIN and the OUTSPINs with just basic soles and basic MIZOUs and everything. The nice thing is, for me, because OUTSPIN normally is switch, a more complicated OUTSPIN becomes natural again. Because I'm rotating out of my switch and into my natural. If that makes any sense, I'll show you what I mean real quick. If I'm doing an OUTSPIN sole, like this, it's switch. But if I'm doing an OUTSPIN 180 sole, I'm landing natural in my natural alley-oop sole. So super stupid, but an OUTSPIN sole is switch for me and super hard. But if I rotate more, I come in my natural territory. OUTSPIN 360 sole. At least that was a pathetic attempt. What I forgot is that there's one step before that. That is the OUTSPIN to 70 frontside. If I first practice that, my 360 soles, my OUTSPIN 360 sole will become a lot easier. Up. That was a lot easier than the sole. So much more easy. Of course, this is different for everybody. Like, I like to do a royale here. Some people maybe do frontside full torque. So one more time, and then I think I have the sole as well. Okay, now let's try the sole. Yeah, let's see the difference. Maybe I have it now. Hey, I landed it. Boom, there you go. That's how you see that it's really important to build it up. I wanted to go too quickly towards the 360 sole, but it's important to follow the steps of the clock. So practice, 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 and one day you will be as good as Levi or Jaro. Of course, Jaro Freijn and Levi van Rijn are the This Is Sole team riders. We have more people in the team, we sponsor more people, but these are the two like top level professionals. Follow them on Instagram if you want to see some cool spinning into grinds. I used to be better. So here's a clip of me doing 450 topsole. But right now I'm gonna turn 40 in 3 months or something. So I don't have that in me anymore. But I can still enjoy like the basic stuff. I've had a lot of injuries and stuff, but I'm still practicing, and in between injuries I'm still improving every time. So that's fun. And also good to know is that because if you're spinning into a grind, you're already in a rotation, and that makes it easier to then follow through to a switch up. So one of my favorite things to do back in the day was an INSPIN backside royale and then rotate to a through spin sole, for example, because it goes automatically. So if you master all these INSPIN, OUTSPIN, alley-oops and through spins, it really works on your switch ups as well. And that's a lot of fun to play with. And I wish you all the best with this. If you want to meet other skaters, we have a WhatsApp group here in Amsterdam, because we have a shop here in Amsterdam. We have a shop in Antwerp where there's a big skate park as well. The skate park is built around the shop. That's so super cool. If you go to the shop, there's a complete skate park built around it. Actually, of course, the shop is inside the skate park. And there's a shop in Berlin as well. So if you're looking to skate in either one of those places, hook us up, because we have like WhatsApp communities. If you want to get some lessons, we have our own skate school in Amsterdam. There's the Skate Heaven skate school in Antwerp. There's also a skate school in Berlin if you want to get some lessons there, or maybe in your local community you can find somebody to teach you. And of course, on our YouTube channel we explain a lot more of these fundamental aspects of aggressive inline skating. We're going to do a wizard style skating episode series behind this, like after this is ready, we're going to do that. And now there's only one episode coming for aggressive skating, and that's wall rides. So I'm looking forward to teaching you some wall rides if you're ready. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know more, if you want to learn more. And we make a new video every week. So see you guys in the next week. Bye bye.